Hello, and what's up, everyone? Excuse me, Paul Trani here. I'm going to dive into today's Photoshop Masterclass. Want to welcome you, Biola, Umacorn, excuse me, Glenn, Gilead as well, Carol Pearl, Cody Bear, and Annika's here. Fantastic. Yeah, we're going to get into this. We're going to do some animation in Photoshop. Like a couple things that I have shown this morning earlier. So let's go ahead and take a peek at that stuff. Feel free to say hello. Excuse me, I apologize. Clearing my throat. All right, so this will be fun. We can do this a couple of different ways. I'm just opening up some files if you don't mind. But let's take a look at a couple of these, because I like the idea of, like, again, taking a peek behind the scenes and, of course, seeing things, how things are made. So let's go there right now. Welcome. Welcome, everyone, using my inside voice. And here we are. So, again, this stuff is also on my Instagram. Doesn't really matter. Go there either way, PTRANI, and you can see kind of some of this animation I've been doing. Just kind of like with this, right? This started out as just a static image, and I'm like, man, it is just begging to move, right? So that's one example. I actually kind of brightened up the color a little bit too here, and kind of messed with the color a little bit, so I think that one looks good. We also have this one that you might have seen as well that we worked on last week, and we can take it to the next level today. All right, Christians finally enjoying a live thingy. Thanks for joining my live thingy today. Appreciate it. We can do that with line drawings. I've done that before. Some of this is Cinema 4D, as you can see, right? So that's all Cinema 4D. And this is, of course, this is a lot of After Effects. So we're going to dive into After Effects as well. So again, I just thought it'd be fun. I've also shown how to animate lines before. So here's the original, by the way, which that one looks really good too. Wow, I wonder if I should have just maybe not messed with the colors. Darn it. You know, you just have days like that. Anyways, just scrolling through trying to see if I could find one that actually has some animation. Here we go. Is this one? Yeah, there we go. Here's some line drawing that's animating. So you guys get the idea. Frank's in the house. Right, you can see that move and all that good stuff. So let's make something and let's animate it, shall we? Right, and just so you know, some of these, so if we take like the fish, here's a wonderful fish that I actually kind of created last week. Let's open up this high-res version because it turned out pretty gorgeous. And you get the idea. I know you use After Effects. Is there another option? Not in my opinion. Well, there is, in that you could use Photoshop. You could use Photoshop's timeline. So when I make something, just a simpler graphic earlier, we can kind of take a look at what Photoshop can do. But quickly, it's your gateway drug to After Effects. If anybody else knows of any sort of timeline-based animation tool outside of After Effects and Photoshop, would love to hear about it, you know? There is, Premiere Pro where you can add transitions and stuff. That doesn't quite cut it. But curious. I hear Blender is very similar to sort of a cross between After Effects and kind of the 3D aspect of After Effects. So, okay, you see this one. This is actually what we created last week after I actually added some more graphics to it. So everything's kind of on its own layer, right? We have all these wonderful individual little guys. He should probably be in front of everything, even the bubbles, right? And we have this lovely fish that we can animate. Ultimately, I replaced those with videos, but we can open that up in After Effects just for kicks. Oh yeah, Flash as well, or where is it? Adobe Animate. Sure, yeah. If you want to do more like a frame-by-frame animation, by all means, Animate works, otherwise known as Flash. Flash is still fun. by the way. I just am really into After Effects. So let's open up that final file just to give you so you can catch a vision, not of that one, but catch a vision for what we can do. Is that okay? Fish. Let's open this up. It's gonna get big. It's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get a little intense. And here we are in After Effects. So what you have in After Effects is a bunch of layers, just like we have in Photoshop. You know, you get it. You can turn on and off sound, right? Oh, we didn't want this scene. Okay, we turn that off, right? We're waiting for this to load up because it's such a large composite, by the way. It should be rendering. Let's give it a second. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is what I love, shying layers. Here we go. Had that turned on. So let's just click on that and let's see this happen. Fury, what's up? Good to have you here. So, Julio, I think I basically just we had fun just creating something creative, and this is what we ended up with last week. Okay, we ended up with something like this. I don't remember the exact file, but this was like the start of it. So again, we can see all these lovely layers. And again, I want to get into this. So you're kind of, I don't want you to be too confused by all this crazy stuff, but I'm just kind of showing you the before and after at this point. Okay, so there you go. You have your fish, right? Those happen to be little video clips, right? With some layers on top. Okay. All right. So again, this is sort of animation for photographers. That's what this is, and that's why I'm glad you guys are joining me today, right? Because again, we want to take things to the next level. Is the goal. All right. There's that, and this is where we started with. Okay. But we're going to create a new piece if you don't mind, right? I have this design. Let's get to work, shall we? Let's take this. We're going to put on a couple of layers. We're going to make a composite really fast, and then we'll dive into Photoshop. Chris Georginus is in the house. Awesome. Yes, exactly, Chris. Not so obvious. Okay, so typically what I do in these situations when I need to select someone, I'll go to the Properties panel, and I look at these quick actions, because that's what I need to do. Remove the background. Click. Bam, there we are. We've removed most of the background except for this little spot right over here. We could easily clean that up. All right, there we are. And again, this is just the start of my wonderful composite that I will turn into an animation. So again, this isn't really about compositing. It can be. But let's just do something like that. It would be really cool to maybe have some spheres kind of float around her. So we'll do that right now. Here's a lovely circle with a gradient fill that is going to be radial. There we go. Okay, and we can even turn off this stroke. And adjust this some more. Know what I'm just realizing? Is I don't know on a shape layer how to change the radial point for a shape layer that has a radial gradient on it. But honestly, we're probably going to remake this in After Effects anyways. So again, floating sphere. Maybe we will change this to linear. Right, there it is. This could cast some light on her, so we could treat this like a sun, for instance, which will be cool. Which will be nice, which means we might have a splash of color on her face. So let's do that right now. Select the brush, clip it. Right, there's, of course, that lovely like gold that will splash on her face. Let's change the blend mode to something like overlay. There we go. Let's paint a little bit more. All right. Cool. So we have that. We're going to add another sphere on the other side. Command J to jump that layer, bring it over here. This will be a different light source, right? So this will be more of our, I don't know, pinkish, sort of, I don't know what color, plum-like color, but will be a little cooler. Stony Braswell in the house. There we go, just painting that light on. Yeah, that's being clipped. We'll change that to like overlay. And also I think sometimes lighten will work. Screen works well, right? So yeah, that's kind of cool too. I want to see how all this stuff like translates into, show you how it translates into After Effects. So again, we are just working on our initial design. Let's actually change the size of all this. We'll make that a smart object. Woman. This will be our background. And the goal is to kind of show you, give you all of these different layers and show you how they come in After Effects. So we have, again, vector layer. We have some clipping masks. We have this smart object. We need some text to put in here. All right. Drop that back there. Again, text we're probably not going to use because I don't want to be this basic. That's some basic text you got there. You know what? Let's mix it up. Let's do this. Let's do, let's say, let's just do hello. I don't know if that's much better. Jeez. All right. I don't know. Anyways, text we might not be using anyway, so let's just scale that like so. I'm actually going to change the resolution. I'm going to change this to say overlay. Right there we have that. Let's put this on 2 different layers for fun. Boom, 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 boom. I guess I could have made this in advance, but I didn't think this would take me that long, and I don't think it is. So there we go. We have sort of a basic design that we could add more to, right? We're going to have some fun with this. Ooh, Cody Bear is starting to learn calligraphy. Oh, that's fun. I'm into it. Throw a little glow in here. I've been doing a lot of 3D, just so you know, in case you're curious. All right, you guys get the idea. Cool. One more thing I'm going to add, another layer. Add some dark colors right down here. and we're going to change the resolution. So there we have it. Let's save this file. Let's get this party started. You're doing some packaging. Awesome. Packaging label design. Oh, that sounds fun. Call this Rise. And we'll name our layers. Cornell, when is Adobe Max going to take place? Should be toward the end of October. I don't have the exact dates in front of me. 1350. But you can go to max.adobe.com and that will tell you. Width's going to be 1080. 1350. So this is going to be Instagram size. There we have it. Cool. Oh, you're left-handed, so this is difficult, but don't have to worry about. Awesome, Cody. I did not know you were left-handed. I am left-handed as well. Any other lefties out there? So there they all are. It does not really chop any of this, by the way. It might chop her. Actually, it won't even chop her because she's a smart object. So those pixels are all protected, even though I changed the sides. Oh, let's do her glasses. I also need to do her glasses. Oh man. But you're gonna see how all this stuff comes through. It's gonna be kind of crazy. There's that. Okay. Okay, so sometimes you want to duplicate the gradient, like stretch it out more. You can do that more or less using scale, right? But you can always come in and change this to reflected, and then it gives you that sort of obviously that reflectedness. And then you also have what else? Angle might work. Mainly reflected is what I was looking at. And then diamond. I think we'll just go with reflected for now. You could also use more colors. Yeah, let's throw that in there. Okay, cool. Done. Saving the file. Let's move on. Oh, good. Carol Pearl. Virtual Max was fantastic last year. I wonder how much Virtual Max has reached like more people. I'm sure it has, but it was probably a lot of people's first Max. All right, here we are. Let's reset this workspace. So we will just do default. Here we go. Let's get this reset back to the way you might have it, right? And what we essentially have, project panel, timeline, things like that. Now here's our file. Our file is called Rise Up, or just Rise. So let's move this off to the side. Here it is. We'll just drag this into the project panel like so. Yeah, Arsalan, I agree. I wish Photoshop could show Illustrator-like gradients. And yeah. That would be nice. I wish I had the gradient tool to move the gradient, is what I'd like. Okay, so here it is. Here's my Rise PSD. Actually, shoot, that's not, what did I do? Did I just hit okay? Let's do this again. Okay, so once you drag it in, this is the most important dialogue you will see. You want to bring everything in as just like a bunch of merged layers, as footage? No. It's like bringing it in as a JPEG. Let's bring it in as a composition and retain layer sizes. Okay, so it's going to come in as its own composition with all the layers, editable layer styles, right? And let's retain those layer sizes. Click OK. There it is. Double click. Bam. Oh yeah. And here's the start to our project. Cool. There it is. It looks good. Let's change. Let's take a look at sort of our sizing of everything. So typically what I'll do is I'll fit this to the screen. You get the idea. And then I'll play with a resolution. I usually will do auto. It just kind of depends on what I'm working on. This is not that complex of a layout, so I could even go to full, right? And then I get a nice clear view of what this looks like. Now, for me, it's going to depend on the timeline, how long the timeline is, versus the orientation of this determines where I put this composition. Because I could take this composition and I can push it off to the side like this. And let's close this panel. Let's close this panel. Like I could work this way if I want to, which I will do sometimes, right? But do whatever you want. I'll reset it back to the way it was, like so. Make sure this is down there. All right. Oh, Nourish, do you think there will be a time in the future where Max will be done live with an actual audience? Or should it still be virtual sessions? Yeah, you know, we have to go back to being live. Being a person that just likes people, I don't think anything like really sort of substitutes being together with other people. There's no real substitute to it. Okay, so I hope so. All right, let's take a look at what's happening here. So this got cut off. This is fascinating. So we have this ellipse. If we take a look at this ellipse, here it is. It actually gets cut off right there, and we can see that happening. Let's move this down. But we can see the contents of this layer. And you can see where it's actually getting cut off, like so, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this exact same thing in good old After Effects. Okay, so that's the plan. All right. Let's take a look at the woman. There she is. She is actually the smart object. A smart object is technically its own file. That's the same thing here. This is its own composition. Think of a composition as a PSD file with a timeline. Double click, and there we are. Remember how I added that the glasses and the darkness and the highlights and stuff? That's all right in this file. Okay. Sweet. And we're back. So you guys like the virtual? So yeah, honestly, I want both. I just want both. I think maybe there will be, I don't know what the perfect world would be when it comes to Max. You know, whether you have, I don't know, a place you get to go to and you have the live streamed sessions. In a perfect world, that's what it would be. Everything would be live streamed and awesome, but also you could be there in person if you wanted to. Marcia, great question. So, would you make the ellipse a smart object in Photoshop? Yeah, check this out. We could actually take this ellipse. Let's just jump that layer. We'll duplicate it, right? But you are exactly correct. And that's what I was showing with this file, is if you make it a smart object. So here we will just convert to smart object. This is the ellipse, sort of the smart object, right? I still have my old one. And even if I push it off to the side, by the way, it doesn't matter, right? Saving that file. Okay, it doesn't update it yet. It will, by the way. If I take this one, for instance, and I decide I want to change the orientation of that gradient. You ready for this? I'm just changing the orientation. Click OK. Did it do it? Yeah, I hope so. Or whatever. It will actually update in the file. Just so you know. Actually, let's throw like a different gradient on it entirely. There we go. This one's just going to be a little bit more washed out. We'll save it. We'll go in here. Sure enough, it updates automatically. So we could change it all we want because it's connected back to this original file. Right, so we could do that. Right, we could do this as well. We're like, hey, you know what? That file that you had, drag it in. This time I just want that one layer. So I know a lot of people that, you know, they'll export this out or something. They'll make a separate file. I keep everything in one PSD. I have all my elements, my smart object and other objects, whatever they may be, right? And then I just save it. And then I go in here and I say, hey, you know what? Let's bring in that file. But instead of bringing in everything, we're going to say, hey, let's bring in footage, choose layer. So we're just going to choose a layer of what we already created, our smart object. There it is. Bam. Footage dimension, layer size. I always forget to change this, but make this the layer size because this is going to be easier to move around. Sure enough, there it is, my little smart object. Drop it right in there, and now we could use that instead of this one, deleting it like so. A lot of times, so I love, thank you, I love that it changes. And again, this is your introduction to animation for Photoshop users, right? I love, like, just like you want to clean up all this layer folder, a lot of times I'll come in and I love just like having things nice and clean, at least in here. You can go to File, down to Dependencies, and you can remove unused footage. Because now I don't have to worry about having two ellipses or whatever. Remove unused footage. Actually, let me delete it first, but now let's go in here and we can, it'll do the obvious. And it just kind of cleans it up. And you can clean it up yourself. Just put that right in there. Bam, bam. Ready to rock. We have this little thing. But let's create this from scratch. So just like we created this sphere in Photoshop, we're going to do that in After Effects now. Yeah, it's so flexible, by the way. It updates automatically. You don't even need to hit a refresh button because it's referencing that same file, right? If for some reason you have a second file, so we have Rise 2, whatever, you could reference a different file if you want to. That's all. You know, don't need to worry about that. Anyways, let's make our own little glowing orb. So we'll go to Layer, we'll go to New. Yeah, we can add some text, some solids, lights, camera, what? Shape layer. We make shapes in Photoshop. We can make shapes in here as well. Let's select our shape, which is just going to be an ellipse. Zoop, there's our lovely ellipse, just like so. Also right up here at the top, you can see that we have a fill. Well, what's that fill going to be? It's certainly not going to be black. Let's change that to a lovely gradient, maybe a linear gradient. I'm going to do radial. And where's that coming from? You actually need to click on, there we go. Sorry, my screen's kind of large. Just click on the color right in here, and now we can go ahead and change it. Let's make some changes for the better, Fury. Does that sound good? There we go. Oh, I want to sample that same color. Let's just sample it. That's easier. Bam, bam. There we have that lovely gradient. And what else can we do in here? That's about it. Click OK. We have that gradient. There's more we can do because for all of our properties, for this new circle shape layer, so we'll do a circle shape. Let's twirl this down. Try to get this in view. We have all these wonderful properties. So for our gradient fill, right, we have a start point and an end point. So let's click on it. As I click on the start point, and this will be handy now that I want to do an actual radial. Let's change this to radial. Okay, so now we have this little highlight, but also since I have that selected right down here, that gradient fill, I can also move it. So we can put it up there and give it that angle that we want, like so. Okay, so that's all. All right, you could manually change it down here numerically, if you will. You get the idea. Cool. Can you bring in a 3D object? Not from dimension. No, you cannot. That would be a good idea. Because sure, why not? All right. We want to add a lovely glow here, just like this has a lovely glow. Let's give this object a lovely glow. How do we do that? We'll do that with effects. I usually don't go this way, by the way. I used to use this menu, right? I somehow got out of it. Because what I like to do is I like to use the effects and presets panel. Okay, so rather than going up here and trying to search for it, if this makes you feel more comfortable, because it's very much like Photoshop, yeah, use it. But really, I just want to go over here and I would just say, hey, I want to add a glow. Type in glow. Oh, sure enough, there it is. Under stylize. It would have taken me forever to find it. Right, there's my glow. Let's drop it on the object. And then it makes the whole object glow. I don't know how to do an outer glow, geez. I guess it's actually making the whole thing like glow, which is kind of cool, I guess. But look at that, like that's glow. Actually, I personally really like it. Right, so it doesn't really do the same sort of outer glow that you'd expect. Because again, it's an actual glow and not an outer glow. But let's expand this out. Arsalan, how you doing? Yeah, has the merged option helped anyone for real? I don't know, maybe. Anyways, here's our lovely object. It is glowing. Let's go back to effects and presets. Let's do... what we could do, here we go. If we want to actually do it, we will do drop shadow. Because with a lot of software, drop shadow, and by the way, I dropped on the drop shadow. Let's turn off this glow. Drop shadow, right? You probably know that you can turn your drop shadow into a glow. So even though it says drop shadow, we can change that color and get what we want, or at least what we had in Photoshop. So there it is. Let's soften it up. Let's take the distance down to 0. And now we have like that glow that we had earlier. Cool thing is we could do both in this case. And now we have that and that. And you know what? We don't need to worry about this other one. Let's delete it. Now we have this lovely sphere. Yeah, or do a yellow glowing orb underneath, Clarissa. That is good. Okay, so let's take a look at what happened in here. So we have our original ellipse, as you can see. We have the ellipse down here, and we can take a look at the contents, because we now have, if we twirl this down, here's all of our fun properties. So we can go into the contents. Oh, there's the ellipse. Oh, we added a gradient fill to the ellipse, and we edited it. Right, but also we've added effects. So here's the glow, here's the drop shadow as well, right? Those same effects are over here in the effects and controls panel, which is what everybody typically uses. Could you add more effects to the smart object ellipse from Photoshop? Yes, you can. Great idea. If I wouldn't have already deleted it. But you can. You could even take this glow and this drop shadow. I could copy it. Say we want to add it to even her, for instance, this composition. Paste, bam. Now she has that vibrant glow as well, all right? And I can toggle these on and off by clicking on this effects button. So I could turn off, I could say, hey, you know what? Do I want to show the drop shadow? Do I want that? Kind of just makes it muddy. So I think I kind of want to turn that off, but you can see the glowed. This is what the glow added, which again is pretty cool. So we'll keep it. Why not? And as we take a look down here, sure enough, we twirl this down under effects. Oh yeah, there you are, my friend. Oh yeah, looking good, looking good. Blend modes added to it. Yeah, too much you can do. I want to do some animation though, okay? So let's do some fun animation. I'll probably get rid of that text, by the way, because I'm just not crazy about it. I'm not crazy about the text. Okay. So let's do some animation. So we'll do a fit. There it is. Let's move this up. We have this other sphere as well. That's behind her, right? That I can go in and select. This one has the same issue, right? And we could play with it as well. Shoot, let's do it. Move this down, change this over, make that larger. Just making a new one really fast. Bear with me. Let's change the color. Gotta move that down there. All right. Now we're going to do some simple animation. And I think for this glow, I want to change this glow. And let's just take a look. There we go. Just scaling it down a little bit. I changed the glow intensity. All right. Make it fly out. We can make it, it has a very sort of sun look. So we kind of want it to kind of rise like the sun. But we're just going to have things move around. We're going to have colors cycle. We're going to maybe throw some other elements in here as well. Some procedural stuff that, that we don't have to do any work on. That it will just do. All right. So here's this. We want this to move. Maybe it'll come from this side, right? So we're going to play with the position. We'll twirl this down. Here we are. The position, all the various transforms. All right. I feel like I'm losing my voice. All right, so position, bam. Adding a position by turning it on, click, we turn on the stopwatch. It says, hey, you know what? I'm going to animate along this timeline, okay? There it is, happens to be 30 seconds, right? It's going to start there. We'll scrub in maybe 5 seconds. We'll go, we'll take this, and we'll move it over here. Sure enough, it adds that second keyframe, and now we can like watch it move, right? It's doing the obvious. It's going straight though, that's not fun. There's nothing fun about that. So let's take this. Say, you know what? For each one of those paths, you get their Beziers associated with them. So we can now bend it. Maybe it'll start here and then bend over this way. In fact, you know what? Let's move it over here. Let's bend this up like so. Okay, just like that. Notice how the center point is off, right? Maybe what I could do is I could delete that. Let's take this center point. It's this button right here. Hey, let's pan behind. I don't know why it's called pan behind. If you have an answer, I have no idea. But I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that right in the center because chances are that's going to bother you. You typically don't notice your center points off until you start animating. So I went through the exact same process you would go through, which is, oh, I moved this. Oh, the center point's off, right? I get it. All right, so there it is. In 5 seconds, direct selection tool, move it over, All right, we could use the pen tool and we can give it that BZA point if we don't have one, and we can go ahead and change that like so. Right now we kind of have it rising up and doing its thing. Okay. I like the idea of it kind of wrapping around her. So I like the idea of giving it kind of a 3D effect. So it's going to go around her head. Beziers? Oh, I don't think I say it right. And I'm a darn presenter. And it should be Bezier, but not Bezier. I call it Bezier. No, it's not 3 letters. All right, so let's have it go now that we look at this, and this is exactly what you'll do. So you'll look at this like, you know, it'd be really cool is if we create a looping animation, it's gonna go around her head. Okay, so let's do that now, because I like making things complex, apparently. We're gonna adjust the depth, we are going to change the size, and we're gonna make it looping. So starting here, first thing we need to do, we could start scaling it, but if we scale it down, it's going to be scaled for the whole thing. That's not what we want. We need to make this animated. So we'll turn that on with the stopwatch. Shabba, shabba. There it is. And then we could see it go around. And probably what we'll do before we even do the scale, let's not even do the scale just yet. We are going to have this animate around her head in a wonderful circle fashion. So let's do that. We'll do this. We'll move this up here. Move this like so. And rather than giving it that big arch, it's going to go behind her head. And really the size is going to determine sort of how far back it's going to go kind of behind her head. Right? So again, it's going in front of her head. We're going to put it behind her. Boom. There it is. Goes behind, comes up here. We're going to change the size. So it's going to start out at this size. Bam. When it goes back, so halfway through, when it's like clear back there, we're going to change the size. We're going to shrink it down. Oh, we're going to shrink it down. Kind of like that. Can we do that, folks? And again, I just added this keyframe right here. Right, so that's going to make it get smaller. So there we go. Get smaller. I'm not crazy about this. What did I do to... Okay, we'll turn off the glow altogether, because this looks better. It's going to go back like so. It's going to get bigger right there. And let's duplicate this. Command D. Circle in front. So it reaches this point. Hopefully you guys are having fun. Are you guys having fun with this? Oh, Afroja, you are my best friend. I love it. Thank you for being so kind. Yes, Earl, you nailed it. You're doing exactly what I'm doing. Yes, and Cody Bear, she needs some sunscreen. Can we just take this, take a moment for just a public service announcement to say, wear sunblock. Even when you're inside, your sun is getting burned. I don't know how, but that's what people who are really into sunblock say. Even when you're inside, yeah, you're getting those UV rays. Regular lights, they're burning your skin. I'm kidding. But yes, wear sunblock. Unless you just want to participate in life, then you're like, forget you. Just kidding. Okay, let's take this. This is going to be the circle in front. So this one right here, we're going to hit the U key, the Uber key. Your best friend is the U key. In fact, why do I not have the key caster on? There we go. Keycaster. I hit U, and then it brings up all my keyframes for that layer that's selected. Boom. Hit U once. If you hit it again, it'll expand out all the layers that you can animate. Anyway, so hit U, there it is. Okay, we'll take this, we'll move along here. We'll take this. We're going to take this. You ready for this? I want it to start and end at the same time frame. So you can actually copy and paste it, these keyframes. You want it to start and end at the same position. So now it goes from there and it goes in front, back to there. Super easy. When it's in front, we want it to get it maybe even a touch larger. So let's go down here. What if I want to add the same, size right down here? I don't need to type that in. Literally come over here and hit this button. This is going to add a keyframe, right? Or remove, by the way. Click, adds that keyframe. So it's the same size at the beginning and the end, and then once it's in the middle, scale it up a little bit more. Now it's scaled up right in her face. Let's stretch it out like that. We'll do something like that, okay? And by the way, let's go ahead and kill those 2 keyframes. Guess what? I don't want this one to exist, right? I don't want it to exist the whole time. Notice how this one, right, is there the whole time. Yeah, that's not good. We want it to start right here. So we just grab this bar, drag it in, like so. Another shortcut key, for those of you who don't know, like Cody Bear and stuff, hold down the Option key and the opening bracket will chop it. It'll chop the front end. Same thing down here. Guess what, right here, the closing bracket, Option closing bracket. Now this layer is only that long. And just handy shortcut keys. All right, so we'll do the same here because we want this one to end right there. Option, closing, curly brace, hit U. And these are my keyframes with my document so far. We'll click play. We'll watch it go around. Throw some light on her face. And what happens right here? Check this out. You ready for this? Bam. See that brightness? Zip. I sound like Jason Levine when I do that because Jason does the zip. He does that effect. Anyways, right down here in this panel. Why can I not? What's my... Okay, there we go. I need to zoom in on this. Hit just the plus button. But these 2 circles actually exist at the same point in time. So I just need to move it over a touch. In fact, if I was smart, I would move it over a touch. I would add keyframes, bam, bam, because I don't want the exact keyframe here and here. I have to make sure this object starts at this very new position. So then I would just do, of course, actually, what am I even doing that for? Just bring this in like that. Why do I have to make life so complex? Anyways, you guys get the idea. That's all I'm doing. This is how we do animation. We're just having fun today, this fine Friday. I hope it finds you well and you're happy and healthy, right? Yeah, Keycaster is not on, by the way. I turned it on here. Oh, now it's on. Now it's on. Keycaster is on. It's actually behind my head. Keycaster is only going to... There we go. We'll move this up here. Keycaster is only going to work for my... my adjustment or my control keys, if you will. I could turn it on for everything. Okay, so we have this situation where it kind of like, it's not that smooth. I would probably have to smooth this out some more, by the way. Like grab this. Make sure it kind of smoothly like enters into that curve is what I'm doing. Let's see if that helps. There we go. It's getting better. Let's try something else, by the way. You ready? And take this, and we're actually going to select all of these keyframes, and we want all these keyframes to be, yeah. What a lot of work to do for such a short piece. I agree. You know how that is? You know what's a lot of work? Animation. I mean, actually, what's a lot of work? Life. Okay, right in here, we're going to do an easy ease. So just do a right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Right? It gives them this like ease in and out icon, and let's see what that does. See if that helps it. Ah, it does not. See how it pauses? That's not quite what we want. So let's just undo that. So take, yeah, Judith, I did easy ease. I thought I would smooth it out some more. It's still kind of like not perfect, and it's all about kind of getting those curves just right. So I got those curves right. I usually like to have my, where's my, okay, this is how I'm going to test you guys who my After Effects users are. What's the shortcut key to advance one frame? Let me know. The shortcut key to advance one frame. Yeah, so let's try that. I think that's a good call. Let's see if we just take these end keyframes and turn those to easy ease. So let's see what happens. It still does too much of a stop. I won't get into the timeline graph at all. Oh, good. Okay. Well, hey. Right arrow? That's what I thought. I thought it'd be right arrow, but it's not. It is the command key. Oh, if you had that, will that work? Nope. That zooms in. Command right arrow to go forward, back arrow to go back. By the way, I didn't know that. I was actually hoping you guys knew so you could tell me. So that's funny. But I just kind of guessed, and sure enough, that's what it is. Command right arrow, left arrow will go forward and back. I just learned that. But looks like guessing does its job. Okay, so let's do something like this. This is going to be really cool. This passes in front of her, and we're going to have her face like light up, okay? So we're going to take this woman, we're going to duplicate her, right? So we're going to have the woman bright. Not that she's not smart to begin with, because she is. She's smart, she's intelligent, full of life. She's got it going on. We're going to go in here. We will go into, you know, again, if I could pick through these, color correction, let's do maybe color balance. Yeah, why not? Or brightness and contrast. Let's try a couple of these. Let's like throw color balance on there. Here's color balance. Let's increase the saturation. Let's go back to effects and presets. I'm trying to think of what else would be good. Let's try brightness and contrast. Sure. Hold on. I don't think that dropped it on her. There we go. There we go. We're kind of exaggerating this, okay? But that looks great. So we amped that up. It's going to happen when it comes around the second side as soon as it hits right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a mask, and we're going to animate this mask, and we're going to do it within 5 minutes. Okay, so here we are. I have this woman layer. Bam, bam. You guys know how masks work in Photoshop. Well, guess what? Here we are in Illustrator. I'm going to just select the Ellipse tool right up here. The Ellipse tool, I could also use the pen tool, any one of those shapes. Click and drag on that layer, and sure enough, it creates that mask. If we take a look down there, oh, there it is. Here we can feather it out. So we'll just feather that mask, and boom, we have that lovely mask revealing that layer. So let's toggle this on and off. We can see what's happening there. And we can really crank this up now that we have it all set up. Like a lot. That's really vibrant. I want to actually, I would tint it. I feel like I need to do a lot of things here, but that's okay. I would probably do like maybe a replace color. Okay, so nonetheless, here she is. She's gonna This is just going to come into play right here. We're going to animate this mask path. There it is. Turn it on. Bam. There it is. Move that keyframe in. Right? Let's take this mask path. Let's shrink it up. Right? So rather than having it this size, double click, shrink it down. It's just going to... We actually need to push it off. So we need to push it off. We could rotate this, by the way. So it's going to kind of start right there. That's what I need to do. Let's have it start right there. Goes around right here. Let's take this mask. Double click on it, move it down, rotate it into place. Double click again. Click off of the mask. I know it usually takes a couple times, but this will actually animate into place. But we want it to kind of really, at this point, really cast some light on her face. At that point, right? Right over here. Going to go clear down there, right? So it's going to really morph into this new shape. Okay, it'll go down right here. We'll take that same mask, move it over like so, move it over again. So right here, maybe get smaller. So shrink it up. Shoop. So it's like right there. And then lastly, it's going to be off of her face entirely, like that. There it is. Okay, cool. We have the mask animated. Our mask is animated. We can see it right there. Hit. Bam. And we can see it's just kind of lighting up her face. Oh, Marsha, you are too sweet. Oh, I'm down to my last second. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, guys. I really appreciate ya. Thanks for watching.